A recently developed procedure can provide new hope for people living with glaucoma.
The disease is often called the silent thief of sight. And here to talk about the option for patients is board-certified ophthalmologist Dr. Scott M. Pollock. Thank you so much for being here to chat a little bit more about what sounds like hopeful news for those living and dealing with glaucoma. First and foremost, if you don't mind explaining what glaucoma is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for having me. So glaucoma is a group of diseases that can affect the nerve in the back of the eye, which connects the eye to the brain. Usually when the nerve is damaged, it causes vision loss, which can ultimately lead to blindness. So glaucoma is typically associated with elevated pressures, which is what we aim to treat, but can often affect people who have regular pressures within their eye as well. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we're dealing with glaucoma earlier as opposed to letting it move on, take vision which can't be returned, and affect people down the road.
And let's talk about the new procedure that you have available, right?
Absolutely. So traditionally glaucoma was treated with drops, lasers, surgery, and we took more of a reactive approach instead of a proactive approach. We would do testing, see some vision loss, put people on some drops, go ahead and add more drops, do testing, and keep watching people lose vision while we went ahead and gave them different types of medications in response to the vision loss. Now we have better ways of testing and new treatments available, so we could go ahead and take a more proactive approach, treating people prior to that vision loss being taken away. One of those things that we want to talk about today is iDose from Glaukos, which is an implantable medication which, instead of taking a drop once a day and having the medicine on the front of the eye work its way in, it stays where it's needed, when it's needed, working around the clock, making sure that people are getting the medication at all times. They're also not dealing with any of those side effects like itching, burning, dry eyes, things like that. You don't have to worry about getting the drops in or forgetting to take them. You go away for a long weekend like this, forget your medicine, and you're in big trouble.
What are some of the early signs that someone may be experiencing glaucoma or may start to be developing glaucoma?
Well, as you alluded to, glaucoma is the silent thief of sight. So oftentimes there are no signs and there are no symptoms. That's what makes it kind of a scary disease. If at first you undergo some vision loss that's permanent and irreversible and you don't notice, oftentimes we see someone who comes in who says, hey, I had no idea there was something going on, and they've had some pretty severe or moderate vision loss, and it's already too late, where we wish we would have intervened many years or even decades earlier. That's one of the things about glaucoma that we want to make sure we're doing regular eye appointments and vision checks and things like that, so we can diagnose and treat as early as possible.
And you were talking about going from the eye drops to the new option. Now, is it a capsule? Is it a medication? Technically, what is it, and how do you take it?
Yeah, wonderful question. So it's a little bit of both. It's a titanium implant that's placed by a surgeon inside the eye, and it holds several thousand equivalents of a drop, which works continuously around the clock. You put a drop in the eye, it works for at most 24 hours, once a day dosing, as most people know, sometimes 3, even 4 times a day. This works for years at a time, so it's much easier for patients. You come in, you have this placed by a physician, and it's less than 2 millimeters in size, just over 1 millimeter after it's fully inserted, where it works inside of the eye, and it can last for years.
People who need glasses, or in my case contacts, in order to even read anything, they frequently see an ophthalmologist. So obviously you were getting that testing. Everyone hates the puff test when it goes in your eye. But people who might not have poor vision or have the 20/20 vision, they might not be seeing an ophthalmologist. Do you recommend that they do, so then you can track whether or not glaucoma could be in the cards for them?
I do. There's certain risk factors that might make glaucoma a little bit more prevalent. If you have a family history of glaucoma, if you're on certain high-risk medications that your primary care physician may recommend, oh yeah, we want you to see an ophthalmologist. You know, you have high pressures inside of your eye, we always recommend that those people are watched a little bit closer. But in general, I do think it's a good idea to go ahead and have a baseline evaluation, and for people who may be at higher risk, see them a little bit more frequently, or otherwise just check in once a year and make sure that everything's okay.
Okay, and before we go here, I mean, some people may have concerns, of course, of, you know, an implant, right, in their eye or near their eye, and maybe some effects from that. I mean, are there any, on the flip side, are there any concerns, any health risks as a result of having this type of option?
Yes and no, and I understand that's a terrible answer. Let me explain. Not every treatment, not every procedure is for everyone. There are certain types of glaucomas that we may not recommend this for. There are certain conditions that we may not recommend this implant for. But for the vast majority of people, when we did all the studies and looked at all the information, what we found is not only were they happier, but their glaucoma was better controlled. So if you were to say, hey, is there any issues? Of course, I'm not going to recommend everything to everyone. We want to do what's best, what's most efficient, and what's going to treat people the best for each individual. But by and large, this is a great option for many different people.
All right, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
on in. Happy 4th of July.